Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be having a story time while I do my brows. I promised a brow tutorial in my previous video, so we are having a two-in-one. Yeah, so let's get right into it. There are different methods, so I'll try to explain a method with one side and the other method with the other side. This is a spoolie, so I'll be using this to brush up my brows. My brows are not trimmed. Like this is my brows in its full shape. Like I have not carved my brows in months. First step is to brush up my brows. I brush this up just to have a laid down effect. Topic of my story time today is resilience. Resilience, the ability to adapt to situations, the ability to keep going even in the face of setbacks, challenges, and life is full of challenges. So with an edge control, actually this is meant to be a broad thema, but I'm using edge control because that is like a substitute. So we just little with my spoolie, the edge control. I'll be using this to, what we use edge control to do for our hair now? We use it to like lay down our edges. Yeah. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm using the edge control to lay my hair flat. And I can now use the bum of the spoolie to further press this down. When I say resilience, I'm not trying to sound cliche like people say, be resilient, keep going. No, I'm saying this from my experience, things I have experienced with my koro eyes. Then for the other part, I'll be using this Adventure Sweat Block, and I'll be using this cotton board to apply it. So I'll put little on the cotton board, then I apply it to my brows. Remember, I first brushed this upwards here, so I would apply this a generous amount, not too much so it does not drip down to your lids, but enough to soak up your brows. I apply generous amounts and let it dry. I'll be applying powder to this part where I use the edge control to control the oil, because the edge control, or even if it is a tamer you are using, it actually secretes oil. So we're using powder to control the shine. The dictionary definition of resilience is the ability to recover quickly from difficulties. That is, toughness, or let me say stubbornness. Like no matter what you go through, you are able to pick yourself back up and get going. Yeah. So next step is that, as I said, I would use powder to control the shine of this part where I use the edge control. So I'll be using a powder that is either exactly my shade or a shade lighter, and I will make sure that is enough. Like the powder has to be enough, so that would help control the shine. Pencil, I'm using this Davis pencil in the shade 40. This is how sharp your pencil has to be. See how sharp it is. Then I'll be using dropped pencil for this side, and on this side I'll be using gel and pencil. So whichever one you are more comfortable to work with. My pencil is sharp, so just watch what I do. I'll be drawing an outline. This is the beginning of my brow. This is the apex. Like this is where my arc. I have a soft arc, and this is the tail. This is where it ends. That is the tail. So I'll draw an outline underneath. I will draw an outline from the top, but my upper outline I will not start from the beginning. I will start from somewhere here. I will just then from the upper part, I'm not starting from the beginning. You don't have to draw a straight line. You can actually go in short strokes so that it will be easier to control your balance. I'm using my pinky to form a balance on my forehead, so that will enable me go in the direction I actually want to. You can start over as many times as you want until you get it perfectly. I actually still do make mistakes every once in a while though. So this is the outline already. then the pencil is already blunt, so I can just use that to shade the tail area. It's actually in strokes, but it's just like I'm shading, but I'm still going in strokes. Back to my story. Oh, when I started business, entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted. Though, do you know that there are days when I would open my salon from Monday to Saturday, and I would not have one single client, like not one still. That's now in the past too. Although even till now, every once in a while there are days like that. But the one thing that kept me going is the fact that tough times don't last. Tough people do. Hey, but jokes apart. What keeps me going on days like this is the fact that okay, this won't last forever. Days like that would make you question your why. But if your why is strong enough, like why am I doing this? Like, okay, I'm doing this because I love it. Fine, money has to be made, there's overhead costs, there's rent, there are bills to be paid. Especially if your business is your only source of income. But because of your passion for what you do, that would help you scale through that period of trying time, because we can call it a trying time. So I shaded the tail part up onto the middle. Then from the beginning part to join the part I shaded, I'll just be doing strokes, just soft strokes to create an hair-like structure with a very sharp pencil. So I've had days that I will sit and ask myself, am I sure of what I'm doing? There was even a time I went back to my CV. I carried my CV and started looking for jobs. Let me just abandon business. But then again, I always come back to the drawing board and ask myself, I actually started this business because I really, really wanted to. And that has made it easy for me to stay resilient. I'll be using this Carite gel in brown. So I'll just scoop some, not to sound cliche or something like, okay, that is how people say it, or that is what people say. That is not the case here. I'm actually talking from experience. As long as you are doing something because you really want to do it and you are already like neck deep into it. For my early stages in business, I would question myself, like, am I sure of what I'm doing? But I'm now at a point where I don't question my why anymore. I just, call myself to order and be like, okay, this is just a trying time. Not just in the aspect of patronage. Some things can just frustrate you. There are days when your generator will just decide to develop faults. While you repair that, a light bulb can just decide to burn and become faulty. While you are repairing that, something might decide to pick up fault, and it might get so tiring, and you might become so overwhelmed with the expenses and the repairs and all. But that resilient spirit, the toughness, is what will keep you going. So now with my gel and an angled brush, a very small angled brush, I'll pick up the gel. Same process we did here is what we are actually replicating here. The difference is in the products we are using. So you don't have to draw like this. You can go in short motions so as to help you gain balance. And if you notice, my pinky is like giving me support. I'm using my pinky to get support. This is the lower outline. I'm actually following my natural shape, but I'm not following the hairs, like the overgrowth. I have some overgrowth under here and some up there. So I'm not following the hair, I'm just following the shape. I don't know if that explanation makes sense. Then for the upper part, I wouldn't start from the beginning. I just start from somewhere here, and you can see this point here. This is my arc. So that is where I get a change of direction and bring it down at that point. That is like the highest point. I'm making sure I only pick little with my brush, and I make sure it is at the tip. After picking the gel, I actually clean up like the sides to make sure I don't have too much on the brush. So I'll be filling in the tail area with the gel in strokes. Actually, I'm just filling in the tail area, and I'll now be using a pencil to create strokes from the beginning. Back to my story. There are days when I'll just feel so overwhelmed, and what I do on days like that is to rest. Like, I take me times a lot. Once I notice I'm becoming overwhelmed due to so many things happening, I just make sure I take enough rest. I feel guilty at times, but I've learned not to feel guilty anytime I want to like take a rest from work, because it is better to rest, gain energy and get back at it, than to give up and quit. We don't quit over here. So with a sharp pencil still, I would now, from bottom upwards, just creating air-like strokes. I'm making sure it connects to what I have going on. Next step is to highlight our brows, and I'll be using the Bank concealer in the shade 44, which is a lighter shade. That's like 2 shades lighter. And I'll be using Deckel concealer also in the shade Cafe Deckel concealer, because it's best to use a lighter shade and your exact shade. The exact shade is meant to blend, like make it blend into the skin, while a lighter shade is to create that highlight we want for our brows. Going in with the lighter shade first, and just under my outline, the line I like draw under, like the first line, that is what I would be going over with the light shade of concealer. Just as we did short strokes while drawing our brows, you don't have to go like this. You can just go in short strokes. This area is called the brow bone area. This point where I'm using the lighter shade of concealer, that is the brow bone. And I blend this downwards. Blend. Then with the other shade, which is my exact shade, that comes from the beginning of my brows, I also blend it downwards, and also at the tail end. And with the blending brush, I'm blending this. The topic of my story time also applies to everyone that has been learning makeup, trying to learn makeup. I have people that would try, watch a tutorial, and then when they try maybe once or twice, they just give up and say things like, makeup is not for me, I can't know how to do my makeup. That's because you are not resilient. Because if you are tough and resilient and stubborn, you will keep trying until you get it. What you see me doing here is years of practice. And I still make mistakes once in a while. So imagine you that you just tried twice and you are giving up. Who does that? We don't do that over here. I've said this before, that one of the tricks, if you are a beginner or if you are like learning to do your makeup yourself, is to ensure you blend. See, the word blend, take it seriously. You can blend this down into your lid. Then we will replicate the same thing on the other side. And I implore you to stay resilient. Working on the left side of my face is actually not always as seamless as the right side. And another thing is that you can only try to balance up your brows and make them equal. Naturally, our brows are not equal, but for a start, it is fine if they are not totally perfect. That does not mean they should be two totally different people. But you get the gist. The key word here is blend. Blend. When you take your time and get your brows perfectly, you would have a minimum job to do as highlighting and trying to highlight the brows. It is better to get a perfect shape when drawing out your outline than to just draw and believe you correct it later with the concealer. When I do my makeup, when I'm doing a full glam, I usually do not conceal the upper part of my brows, because I would have done my skin work first and there's already foundation on my face. So when I have a perfect outline and I conceal the underneath of my brows, I'm moving next to eyeshadow. When I do that, I usually do not conceal the upper part of my brows. But for the sake of this tutorial, we'll be doing that. So for the upper part, I would only be using the darker shade only. Trust me, I can't talk while doing that part. I just can't. And with the same brush I've been using to blend, I would blend this upward. I'll blend this upward into my skin. I'll be doing the same thing. So with my blending brush, blend this upwards into my skin. If you have watched this far, let me know in the comments which method do you prefer. Considering our results so far, which method would you be trying? So now it's time to set this, with powder. So I'll be setting this with my shade of powder because I'm not doing a full glam, I'm just doing my brows and I want this to blend. Then with this brush, I would just be using a powder that is my shade to blend this. Thank you for watching. This is our final look for the brow tutorial and for our story for today, resilience. Please do not give up. As long as you started with passion, your drive will keep you going. I know it is easier said than done. You can easily just say it. I hope you keep getting the strength to keep going. Thank you for watching. This is the part where we do the beautiful stuff by share, comment. Most important part, subscribe. To all my 20-something subscribers, I love you guys with the whole of my heart. One more important thing, please put on the notification bell so anytime I post, you will be notified on time. Thank you.